and 6 million head of cattle, earning most of Paraguay's foreign currency. Half the arable land here is owned by 145 people, men like Miguel Fano. 40 minutes flight north of Asunción, his estancias cover 370,000 acres, and on them, 60,000 head. Just watching this parade of protein gives me a headache.
Do you think there's enough for 5?
In Paraguay, the peasants eat more meat than the rich anywhere else. So you can imagine how much a landowner eats. Every asado means massive, inevitable platefuls.
Don't you find that you get terribly fed up with eating meat all the time? I mean, it's delicious, but meat, isn't it?
Well, if it's beef, I never get fed up with eating it.
After, what, 30 years in Paraguay?
Yes. Well, I guess I can go on eating for another 30 years, too. Chicken you can get tired of, fish you can get tired of, but really beef.
Now, this water is straight out of the river.
Straight out of the river, yes.
Is that a good idea?
Well, it's,
It means you've got plenty.
Never run out of it. And, of course, we're drinking it mixed with whiskey, you know.
Yeah. That's all right.
Oh, that's...
The whiskey is
the best idea.
only to sterilize the water.
Yeah, when you look at it, it doesn't look very hygienic, that river, actually. To be polite.
Well, they don't have the same habit here as the Indians have.
No bodies, no bodies.
No bodies.
The animal life in the water here is, if it's not there with purified water, you don't feel the same the next day, you know.
Well, it's quite characterless, certainly. They have pure water.
Mm.
It hasn't got that zing.
No, that's right. I think most of the people thrive on it.
How about the foreigners?
Well, I find that foreigners who come here with a very sort of delicate tummy, they, first few days, they're liable to get a deli belly or something similar, you know.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The thing that one notices, seeing the kind of thing we've seen today, is that Paraguay could be the sort of pantry of the world if it were intensively developed. I mean, it's such a rich land. It's not a bread basket, it's a meat basket of the world.
The world is hungry for animal protein. Every year the price of animal protein in Paraguay drops and drops and drops and drops. Where are we going?
Now, why does it drop? I don't understand that. It costs me, to get my steak in London, costs me more and more and more all the time.
I don't know.
Well, basically, the risk upsetting some people, meat like oil is in the hands of the big three. It's meat marketing is a monopoly, and I'm sorry, there's nothing you can do about it. You live with it.
Who are the big three?
I'm not sure of their names.
You're being tactful now. You mean companies, do you? Or
Yes, in the world, people. 3 companies.
3 companies. The other thing is that President Stroessner limits the export of beef, does he not?
That's only theoretical.
Is it?
Just mention the president's name in Paraguay and you've laid on them a real conversation killer. Until someone comes up with a party line.
Any legal steps that the president may have taken has been nothing more than a confirmation of what is the economic setup here.
But he's making sure that stomachs are full in Paraguay. That's the first thing he's doing.
I think so. I think that it's merely a precautionary measure.
But every one of these estancias has got a strip like this one. I see somebody's just dropping in now.
Practically everyone, yes, has got an airstrip, yes.
This is the only means of communication. The only means, really.
Does he know he's late for lunch?
Oh, he's probably had his lunch.
In the vast emptiness of Paraguay, aircraft are almost as vital to the cattle industry as they are to another type of business which flourishes here as nowhere else in the world: smuggling. For once able to cash in on its central landlocked position, Paraguay is the South American distribution center for black market Scotch and American cigarettes. Such contraband's known here concisely as goods in transit. It's the most rewarding business of all, though you've got to know when to stop.
are two different, absolutely different kinds of smuggling. Smuggling into Paraguay, and that's done openly, as I say, very often with the cooperation of the customs officials. And then there is the smuggling done into Paraguay, then to take the things to Argentina or Brazil. As you know, Paraguay was declared the highest consumer of American cigarettes in the world. And there are only 1,800,000 people.
The goods arrive from abroad at Asunción's President Stroessner Airport, and here they pay an official government tax of $4, 32 shillings, on every 5,000 cigarettes. And one aircraft carries millions. They've come, legally and openly, on scheduled cargo flights, but from here on they're contraband, unofficially controlled by the military, a sort of general's perk. They're transferred to a remarkable and unmarked fleet, from biplanes which pilots fly in sweatshirts and sneakers to keep the weight down, right up to elderly airliners. At night they take off anonymously. There are no flight plans for these deliveries. Fortunes are being made by the organizers and the crews. They land on secret airstrips, on roads, in fields deep in the Argentine and Brazil, and unload. Such flying's dangerous, but so's just talking about these smuggling fleets.
Well, they vary enormously from very small aircraft which carry something like 20 cases of cigarettes, 200,000 cigarettes in total, to larger aircraft of the Curtiss type which carry 400 cases of cigarettes, which is 4 million cigarettes.
Now, there's a Constellation down at the airport, I see. Was this one of the aircraft used?
Well, they are used occasionally, but...
Big four-engine job.
Yes, a big four-engine Constellation, Super Constellations. They are used occasionally, but they're risky because the weather has to be extremely good, because they need a very good runway to land when fully loaded. Constellation can take 900 cases.
How many cigarettes is that?
That's 9 million.
What about the new style of shipbreakers? Aren't sometimes planes lured in by false landing lights and that kind of thing?
I've never heard of that. I've heard of an aeroplane mistaking the landing lights and landing on top of another aeroplane because it's missed its right connections.
Now, what do the crew, what do the pilots get for this very dangerous work?
It depends slightly on the size of the aircraft, but on a good-sized aircraft, a pilot could make up to $1,000 for a flight to Buenos Aires and back from here.
How is it that they don't make any attempt to stop it here? This is because the authorities are making so much money out of it, is it? That Stroessner, for example, is doing so well out of it that he wouldn't want it stopped?
Well, in a way, yes. The government of Paraguay relies to a certain extent on gaining revenue from the transit taxes collected for cigarettes and whiskey, which incidentally falls into the same category.
The Air Force is supported by such revenue, as seems only fair, and so in this irregular land is the Paraguayan Navy.
They had some ships, small ships for our river, and because they say, because the commission was larger if the ships were larger too, then they ordered the ships to be built a bit deeper and larger than our river could take. So now we have 4 or 5 excellent ships, new, quite modern, very well built in Spain, and they can navigate only 4 or 5 months in the year.